Let's get ready to rumble!
Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that this week has managed to get three people into into the cinema to see three different films. This is like a first of the new era where we all might get to the cinema, we might see something. My name is Tosin. I am the host, and joining me as always on the Isle of Wight are Sharon.
Hello.
And Shaun.
Hiya.
Yes. So now this week we all managed to go to the cinema, and we all managed to see. I think this is the first time since cinemas have been back that we all managed to get to the cinema and see something different. I think.
Yes, we've all seen three different films.
We've all seen three different films. Okay, my film is a bit of a. It's like a report back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that, Shaun? What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just thinking, did we not when Sharon saw Cruella, or was that last week? That was last week, was it?
Week before.
That was the week before. Was that not? Did we not see one different one each, or maybe we didn't?
Oh,
maybe I
yeah,
saw two.
I think
yeah, no, you're right, Toast.
I think we might have done that. Oh no, I think you saw something the week beforehand, which you now spoke about that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what we did. Yeah.
But then again, you saw everything in the cinema, so I think you probably saw everything.
I did that first week. Yeah.
You just took everything. You're like, I'm taking all your toys. Yeah. They're all mine.
And we're still catching up.
Yeah, we're still catching up. But no, honestly, this week, right? This week was a week I actually thought, oh my god, there's more than one film that I really want to see. There's more than one film that I really want to, because obviously now I have my, some might say self-imposed, some might say life-imposed rule of I can only see one film at the cinema a week. It's actually coming down to like a real thing of, if I'm going to go to the cinema, what am I going to see? What am I going to? And I think, Shaun, you saw one of the films that was on my slate that I was like, oh wow, I want to go check that out. And but we'll see. We'll go through that. So the films that we have this week are. We have Shaun, I believe you saw The Father.
The Father, yep.
In the cinema. Sharon, you saw... What did you see?
Dream Horse.
Dream Horse, yes, that was it, Dream Horse. And I went and I saw Nobody, which we have already reviewed, but every now and then we do want to go back and we do want to just sort of check that, we're still friends and we still actually agree with each other. And yeah, every now and then, there is one film that comes up and divides opinion enough that makes us think, can we actually be friends? Isn't that right, Shaun? With the
that is right. That is right. I think there's only one where it was a little bit. We did get a little bit far. There's only one I can think of. The rest of the time, it's really constructive and we take each other's views. But I think there was one particular episode.
Five Bloods.
The Five Bloods. Yeah, but we won't mention that.
All right, cool. So, and then on Netflix and similar things at home, because if you don't know, what we do on this show is we go to the cinema, we see three things, we rate them out of 5. We stay at home, we see three things, we rate them out of 5, and then we give an average and we say who has won this week. Where was our money better spent, Netflix or cinema? So, what have we seen on Netflix this week?
I saw a film called Skin.
Oh yeah,
there's a few films called Skin, but this is 28. This was a 2018 Skin.
Okay. Oh, and Sharon?
I saw one called The Devil Below.
The Devil Below. Okay, cool.
The Devil Below.
The Devil Below. All right,
yes,
so let us kick
the Netflix top 10 at the moment.
Huh. Oh, all right, okay. I think this is. I have a feeling that this is going to be one of these films that when you get around to talking about it, I'm going to be like, "Oh yeah, I heard about this. Oh yeah, this was being shoved in my face." I have a feeling that it's going to be one of those, but at the moment, it's ringing no bells.
Nothing.
So, right, let's kick off. Let's kick off with the film that we have been waiting for a while, because this was the film that's kind of surprised. Well, everybody who hadn't seen it at the Oscars, and let's be honest, a lot of people hadn't seen it by the time we got to the Oscars, by winning Anthony Hopkins the Best Actor Oscar. And this is a film that, Shaun, you have seen, and it is called The Father. So, would you like to go ahead and tell us all about The Father, what your experience of watching this was like?
Okay, so basically this is a film, Anthony Hopkins plays someone who's like, he's got obviously starting to get Alzheimer's. It starts off with Olivia Colman. She's the daughter, and she sort of says, "Oh, I'm going to have to go there's been an altercation with one of the carers that come in for him, and she says, I've got to go to Paris soon, so if you can't get on with your carers, then we're gonna have to put you in a home, and it's all like confused. So, and he says, "Oh, what are you going to Paris for?" And he's talking along, and these people change. There's another scene. He sort of wakes up and he goes outside, and then there's these different people who like he thinks is his daughter, but it's someone who's totally different to his daughter.
Yeah.
But in his mind, he thinks it's his daughter. And this other chap who sort of just turns up, and he's like, oh yeah, how are you and all that, but he perceives he's perceiving these people as something else, so he gets really, really confused by the whole thing. And as you go through, you never really know what it is that's actually happening. You don't know the bits when he's lucid, the bits when he's thinking about it, the bits when he's dreaming about it. And so basically I think it's quite well done from that perspective of him being totally confused, and he's like, at the time he had a daughter that was in an accident, and he keeps asking about her, and he keeps perceiving, even though he's in a different flat, he keeps perceiving it as his flat. It's so it's quite good on that point. I think this was a play originally, wasn't it?
It was originally a play, written by a French playwright called Florian Zeller, who also directed the film.
And personally, I think it felt like a play. It didn't feel like a film to me. Yeah, it felt like a play. I was a bit the same with Fences, I think, with Denzel.
Yeah, with Denzel Washington
when he played Fences. So it very much is that way. And I did get the feeling that I was, I suppose there's not too many characters, so it obviously would work well on the stage. But I mean, I know this is controversial, but I suppose people are precious, maybe, or they love Anthony Hopkins, but I thought he was acting.
Oh, right.
I really, really thought he was acting. There were times, okay. I mean, I've seen my granddad had Alzheimer's, and I've seen other people with Alzheimer's. Kath, who you remember, Kath, and I mean, it was really, really good the way it went, but I just felt he was acting. And he didn't convince me. And I know, like, this people have got raves and they've got it all and all that, but I wondered if it was because they're so precious about it, and what a marvelous place to play. But I wasn't too impressed by it, to be fair. Not with the performance. From me, I know, and people will probably say, "Oh, how can you say that?" Because I mean, it's just got masterful reviews, and he's won the Oscar, hasn't he? But for me personally, I tried to like it. But I just couldn't really, really get into it that much. And even Olivia Colman, I didn't think was. But as I say, this is a personal thing for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I was expecting too much. Maybe my expectations were too high. I really, really don't know. But it just didn't. I don't know. It's a difficult thing to say. As I say, there was only about 8 characters in it in the whole film. With different people, and it was confusing enough for him. So, and there were times when it was like, "Where's this all going?" But at the end of the film, you find out why he sees these people, why he sees different rooms, why in his mind he's going all different. And there's one scene at the end, more or less the end scene, which I don't know, it just didn't work for me.
Didn't do anything.
No, it didn't do anything.
It
this
left
end
you
scene
cold.
where he's got how can I say?
Is this going to be too spoilerific?
Yeah, I can't really say, but there's a thing. Let's just say like a breakdown. There's a moment where he has a breakdown about something in particular, and I just that was just like, oh no, really. So I mean, I'm going to be. I mean, it was okay, and I feel really bad saying all this stuff because I mean, he did win the Oscar at the end of it and all that. But I think it was acting. I don't think it was a performance. I think it was acting, and I wasn't convinced. I was looking at Anthony Hopkins as an actor.
But we all know that
think we can't use the winning of an Oscar as a guide to often the best performance.
Yeah,
no.
Because we have seen films where you think, why is that even nominated as a best film, let alone win it? Some performances, you're thinking, are they doing this just because they want to sort of massage some egos? Or is this genuinely reflecting what was the best performance of that year? We've seen some cracking performances that don't get nominated. And then we've seen some quite average performances that do get
the winner.
The gong.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use that as a guide particularly.
Okay.
Yeah. For instance, Rami Malek he won the best actor for that Queen film, Bohemian
Freddie
Rhapsody.
Mercury. Yeah.
Yep. All right, cool. So, Shaun, how many stars would you give The Father?
Well, I suppose I didn't absolutely hate it, but I didn't think it was a masterpiece. So I'll give it an average 3. I'll give it a 3-star.
All right.
Because I'm not saying it was really, really horrible. I'm not in my hate mood, but it just didn't. It just didn't. Sorry, mate. Yeah, it just it didn't grab me.
So I just got this image when you said you're not in your hate mood. I just got this image of Shaun, like a crowd of Shauns with pitchforks outside a cinema showing a film that he doesn't like. Burn it! throwing flames. All right, cool. Now this was the other film that I was tossing up. I was like, oh, The Father or Nobody, The Father or Nobody, and I'd heard a lot about The Father that made me kind of like want to go see it, because I'm intrigued about the fact, like, you're talking about how the film is disorienting because he's disoriented, and I wanted to see how they did that. Shaun, I might just be following you around in the cinema. It's like, Shaun sees something this week, I go see it next week. That might happen if it's still in the cinema.
That's good.
Because it has the feeling of a film that might not hang around that long in cinemas. He has the feeling of that. All right, cool. So that is cinema, kicking us off with a 3-star. And now we go over to Netflix and Friends. And this was something that I saw on Sky Atlantic. And it's called Bad Education. This stars Hugh Jackman. Hang on, I'm trying to put a timer on it. This thing is trying to make me look stupid. But anyway, this stars Hugh Jackman and Alison Janney in it. And they play, because I really don't understand the way schools work in the Western world, in the UK or in America. But I know that there's school boards and everything like that. But in America, there's this guy who is the head of a whole bunch of school boards. And he has to do, his work is to make sure that the school has good results. Because if the school has good results, then it makes the neighborhood a desirable neighborhood to live in. Because if the school has good results, it makes the neighborhood a desirable neighborhood to live in. And then that means that all the people who are in that area, their house prices go up and they can all make money, all because they have a good school. And Hugh Jackman plays this guy who's the superintendent. And he is the superintendent of this. It's based on a true story of all these schools. And in an affluent area I think it's Long Island. Yes, an affluent area in Long Island. And they are all loving this guy because the school is number 4 in. I wasn't sure whether it was in the county or in the country, but the school is number 4, and they're all making a big deal about this school is number 4, and they're having all these pep rallies in the school gymnasium about, "Ooh, we're number 4," and people are coming over. Like Ray Romano plays a guy who owns a whole bunch of businesses in the area, and he comes in and he gives him a fruit basket to say thank you so much for making the school number 4 because we're all making money because this school is number 4. And it transpires. Then we have a school reporter for the school paper who is played by Geraldine Viswanathan, who, Sharon, you will remember you quite liked her in Broken Hearts Gallery. She was the lead in Broken.
Yes, that's right. I did.
Yeah. And so she plays a school reporter, and she essentially she wants to just do like a newspaper in the school story about they're building this new sky train. And so she goes to interview Hugh Jackman, and he's like, and his whole thing is he's always like, inspirational. And so he tells her, you know what, dig deeper, write a good story, don't just write a puff piece. And he inspires her to go do this. And so she goes, okay then. So she now asks, we're spending all this money on the SkyTrain to build it. Why are we spending all the money to build a SkyTrain? And Alison Janney is telling her, well, because it's going to make the school big. It's going to make the school put the school out on the map and all that. And she's like, yeah, but the ceilings in the school are breaking. Why aren't we fixing the ceilings in the school, but we're spending all this money to fix the SkyTrain? And she starts pulling at these threads, and the Hugh Jackman character and the Alison Janney character, they go from sort of like, oh yeah, we're here to nurture young people, to almost kind of threatening, saying don't look into this. And she starts realizing that it all doesn't add up. And this is where it gets a bit Scorsese, because it turns out that these people who were in charge of the school board over the last years have siphoned off something like between $25 and $50 million from the school into their own pockets.
Wow.
And this was seeing as this is based on the true story. It's essentially it's called the biggest high school scandal in the world, because we know in America they do high schools big. They have football crowds that get hundreds of people coming to go watch a high school American football game, and so they raise a lot of money for these schools. And his thinking, the Hugh Jackman's thinking is, well, I raised all this money for you guys. You guys are living big because I made the school good. And hang on, I'm not supposed to get anything from that. And it's a really, really cool procedural, as it just follows the lines and it follows the threads and it pulls at the threads as to how this whole house of cards that they have built up for themselves just comes tumbling down. So it's like Hugh Jackman, he has a partner, but he actually ends up going on with another person, with another guy in Las Vegas, where he has him in another house, and the whole thing it's really, really well done. The performances are great. I think everybody to a T is good, but I also think that just sometimes the way that they go about telling this story, and it's, how sometimes some people can go into the nitty gritty of how this thing came about, and it can just fall apart. It can be like, why are you trying to make a film of an Excel spreadsheet? But then there's a way in which you do it, in which you're just going, this is fascinating. And I think this is on the this is fascinating scale. I believe it aired in HBO in the States, and I think Jackman is great. Jackman is all that. The only thing that I would say about the film is, after a while, it gets a bit too interested in the mechanics of how things happened as to the reasons why it happened, because it's almost like a throwaway line where Hugh Jackman points out that the fact that all the other people who, like the Ray Romano character, is like, you benefited from this. You benefited from this school being here. You've made loads of money from this, but I'm not supposed to make any money from it just because I'm a teacher or I'm in education. And I thought that was actually quite interesting. I thought they could have delved a bit more into that. But all in all, I think it was actually really, really well done. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So if you can catch it, I would recommend Bad Education. Not the TV
series.
Not the TV series featuring Jack What's-His-Face.
Jack Whitehall.
That's the one, Jack Whitehall. Not the
That's
TV
quite
series.
funny, actually. That's quite funny sometimes.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple of episodes, but just be careful.
Yeah,
There's a TV series called Bad Education with Jack Whitehall. This is the TV movie with Hugh Jackman, and it's just one of those things that every now and then you realize that Hugh Jackman is actually a good actor.
Yeah, he actually does act.
yeah, he actually does act, but and he's not just look at me, beefcake, Wolverine. But he's really good in that. So yeah, I would say Bad Education. Go watch it. Now Sharon, we go back to cinema and we go to a film that has a title that, I'm going to be honest with you, does not make me want to watch this film at all. I think it has a very.
I was the same. I think I saw the trailer and I was like,
I haven't even seen the trailer. I asked Sharon at the beginning of the show what film it was that you went to see in the cinema. I had looked up what film it was that, from the message you sent to me saying what film is that you went to see. I looked it up about 5 minutes before I asked you. I forgot. And then between you telling me what film you asked, okay, I forgot again. I feel it's such a forgettable title. But Sharon,
and it doesn't really do a lot, but yes, well, it does. When you know the story, it makes sense.
Okay. So Sharon, help Shaun and I out of our old man grumbliness. And help us, and please tell us, what is Dream Horse actually like?
Dream Horse is a British film. Well, actually, it's a Welsh film based on a true story about how a group of working class people, ordinary people, decide that they are going to they're going to form a syndicate and they're going to own their own racehorse. And the lady who's this inspiration is as a child, her passion was for like pigeon racing. And so she actually looked into like genetics and breeding of pigeons, and she actually won prizes as a child. And then life happened. She got pregnant at 17. She got married. Her husband lost his job, and then because he developed severe arthritis, and so basically she's got a job in a supermarket, and so she's been working in a supermarket in a run-down Welsh Valleys town, feeling like there's, is this life? Getting up early, supermarket, looking after elderly parents, looking after a, sort of a husband who's sort of lost his sort of enthusiasm for life as well, living in this sort of depressed area. And this is the beginning of the 2000s, just before the major crash that we had. And so she hears someone talking about how they used to be part of a racehorse syndicate. And so she starts doing her research, and she finds out that you can buy a retired sort of mare, a thoroughbred mare, for as little as like £300. So they buy a mare, and then they do their research, and they form this syndicate so they can actually pay for stud fees, so they can actually get this mare in foal and breed a potential racehorse. And so that's what the story is. It's about how this one woman, this ordinary sort of 47-year-old housewife who works in a supermarket, how she formed a syndicate and basically raised a racehorse. And it's a classic sort of David versus Goliath sort of thing, where they are like the little people. They're working class, ordinary people who basically paid in £10 a month for 2 years in order to afford the stud fees.
Oh wow!
And then their syndicate was run by them continuing to pay £10 a month every month, to pay for the stabling, to pay for the training, to pay for the horse to be actually stabled with a professional trainer, and how this horse was then brought on to actually compete at a national level.
Sorry, Sharon. So it's the foal that is the dream horse, is it?
It's the dream horse,
not the mare. Yeah.
And the foal is named Dream Alliance, and and so they called him Dream. That's just what they called him. They called him Dream, and it summed up basically. It was their dream. And as the story goes on, you hear some, not all of them, you don't get a backstory from all of them, but some of them you understand how they're working like as accountants, or they're working as in the family business, because their dreams were just like basically told when they were young. People from the valleys don't do that. It's like when I heard that, I was like, people from the Isle of Wight don't do that. And so people's ambitions and their dreams were shot down at a very early age, but there's still part of them that's thinking, if only I had, become a vet or gone into racing or gone into something, but my passion was this, and then I lost that dream. And this was about this group of people who rediscover that sort of passion of saying, because we are where we are doesn't mean we can't still dream big dreams.
Okay, now you see, I have to say, I think that the title does not do the film justice. I think the title doesn't do what you've just described justice, but I'll be damned if I can think of a better one. So
I mean, the poster didn't really. The poster didn't.
No, I mean, I saw one trailer of it, and I think if there'd been a dozen films on this week, it might have just passed me by. But I do like to support smaller films and British films in particular. So I just thought, because it's a British film, I will watch it, probably whether I think it's that good or not. And I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It does run at just over 2 hours long. Ooh. But it has, and you've got, after you've had sort of sat through one actual race.
Yeah.
You think, do you have to sit through another one? And because I don't watch racing, but then when I was watching it, I thought it was a film that my dad probably would have enjoyed had he still been around. I thought actually he probably would have enjoyed the fact that it was the Welsh Valleys, and it was set in that neck of the woods. It was Chepstow. You see the Severn Bridge, you see Chepstow Racecourse, and it was all where my dad grew up.
Oh, right.
And I was thinking, I bet my dad would have liked this film. Mm-hmm. And one of the characters sounded just like my Uncle Harry.
Right, okay. 20 years. Wait, no, I've written something down here because as you were talking about that, seeing as you've raised it up. So this is a film that stars Toni Collette as the lead.
Toni Collette, yep. Owen Teale.
Damian Lewis. Yeah, is in there as well. And so when I hear Toni Collette, Damian Lewis, neither of them are Welsh. What are the accents like? I have accents, question mark, in big, massive capital letters. Yes.
Actually, they weren't too bad, because I've heard people try a Welsh accent. Because, it was weird. I grew up with my dad was my dad, and I could never hear his accent. But if we went anywhere, people would say, wow, what accent is that? Even when he was in hospital in his last days alive, one of the nurses said, oh, he's got quite a strong accent, hasn't he? And I could never hear it at all.
Yeah.
So I'm almost like deaf to certain Welsh accents, because to me, that's how everyone talks.
Yeah.
But to me, none of them, they were proper Valleys accents, which is quite different to where my dad was from.
Yeah.
But so you have that proper Welsh Valleys sound. So most of them, I think, to me, it didn't sound too bad. But then, as I say, I am deaf to a lot of Southern Welsh accents, because I just grew up with it and I just don't hear it anymore.
All right, cool. And so how many stars would you give Dream Horse?
I'd actually give it a 4. I think the only thing for me, it did feel a bit long, as I've said in other films. I'm not keen on when it starts going past the 2 hours, because I'm pretty sure you probably could have trimmed out 5 minutes here or there just to make it a little bit tighter. So for me, it just ran a little bit long, but I did enjoy it. And there are moments that made you want to cry. There are moments that made you want to laugh. There are moments you really wanted to cheer. And the people in the cinema with me, I could hear someone sniffing during the sad bits, and I could hear someone chuckling during the funny bits. So it obviously did resonate with me and other people in the audience. So I would give it a 4.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Right, and now we go from cinema back to Netflix and Friends. And Shaun, you are up.
I am up
with one of the many films called Skin.
Skin, yeah, there's loads of them. Okay, so
I know, and I'm thinking, is this the one about the skinhead? Is this the horror movie where something happens to somebody's skin?
Is it a bit saucy?
There's loads of them. I suppose it must be a popular thing. No, this is actually Skin 2018. This is a story. It's about this boy that basically his face is tattooed. He's got tattoos all over his body. He's totally everything. And it's a white supremacist group. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have we reviewed it?
It is a skinhead one.
I haven't reviewed it, but I don't think I reviewed it, but I have seen it.
Oh, cool! I'm glad someone else. It's always great when someone else has seen one. So yeah. Oh, so you know the story. So anyway, and he's a member of this white supremacist group, and certain things happen. I think it's like what sort of
Is it Jamie Bell? Just to clarify, the main actor.
Billy Elliot.
Billy Elliot.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. You'd have to look that up. But...
Okay, I'm looking that up now.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, anyway, he meets a girlfriend. He sort of meets this girl. I think was another film, Big Girl, Patty Cakes. Was it? She played Patty Cakes.
A dumpling.
Oh yeah,
a dumpling. Yeah. So so she was in it. Anyway, she becomes, and she's got like 3 daughters by different dads. But anyway, a sort of relationship comes, and a certain thing happens, and there's an activist in it that decides, why don't you help the FBI? So basically, he comes up with a story that he'll help the FBI if they can help him with this new treatment to get rid of all his tattoos. So because they've all got symbols, they've all got meanings. So, and it's based on a true story. Now, I think I did a review of a film a few weeks ago called Burden, which is very similar.
I think that was sometime last year. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Was that last year? Oh, right, is that long ago? Was it? How time flies.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably was. But anyway, so this is very much like Burden. I don't know how I've sort of come to see these films, but I've started watching it, and I found it quite interesting. I wouldn't say it was marvelous by any stretch of the imagination. It didn't really, it was okay. It was an okay watch. But I'd be intrigued to find out what Sharon thought of this film, if she remembers it. How long ago did you see it? Did you see it?
No, I must have seen it last year, or maybe just over a year ago. I think I saw it.
Okay.
I think it was before lockdown I saw it. But yeah, I thought it was interesting actually, because I've seen a few of these things where they deal with white supremacists, and I think in some ways, without excusing their behaviour, you can understand how these young men are drawn into this world. And I think, because when you look at someone whose face is covered in sort of neo-Nazi tattoos, you're thinking, what on earth are you thinking?
Yeah.
Why would you think having SS tattooed on your face is a good thing? In what world is that a good thing? And then you see a glimpse into that world where you don't justify that behaviour, but you sort of understand how someone who has nothing and is from a dysfunctional background and is isolated and alone, if someone shows them a lot of love and embraces them and brings them into a family where they are absolutely 100% supportive of one another, then it begins to make a sort of twisted sense how belonging
and that's
is important.
That was a similar it's a similar theme to that film Burden that I spoke about, where Forrest Whitaker invites him into his home. So this is pretty much the same, but with this one, I thought there was that what's her name, Farmiga?
Vera Farmiga.
Oh, Vera Farmiga.
Farmiga. So she was in it. She played quite a good role, I thought. But
yes, is that the mother of these sort of neo-Nazis almost?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like a surrogate mother that was like, and when,
But you turn on her and she becomes like a she'll rip you to shreds.
Yeah.
She's likely to defend you to the death if you are loyal to her. But as soon as you stray from that, then she will rip you to shreds, and she'll probably be the first one to shoot you if you do stray. And I think that you see that environment where it's very protective of each other, but then there's this threat of violence.
This underlying threat of violence. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, again, what I would say is this is a okay film. It was watchable. It didn't really grab me. Maybe perhaps because I've seen a few like this. But I think the most I could probably give this would probably be around about a 3-star type of effort.
I would have given it a 3. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
entertaining, because you get a glimpse into a world that would be just completely alien to us. But it was interesting rather than entertaining. But yes, I would have given it a 3 as well.
Yeah,
all right.
I think the best white supremacist film I've seen is Green Room.
With the white supremacists did it. Yeah.
I saw a film many years ago called American History X. That was quite good.
Oh yeah. That was okay.
Yeah, I think Green Room is quite a different take. It's quite a different take on neo-Nazis. Shaun, I just found it 5 months ago. You reviewed
5 months ago. Well done.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
terrific.
So we go back to cinema, and this is me giving a report back on Nobody. Now, Shaun, when you were giving the review of Nobody last week, I mentioned that for me, before I saw this film, I thought that it sounded to me like a mixture of A History of Violence and John Wick put together.
John Wick.
And now I've actually seen the film. I want to add one other film to the mix. It's A History of Violence plus John Wick plus Home Alone gives you Nobody.
Yeah. You could stick that one in there.
And it's quite
that bit. I could, yeah.
So what was that, Shaun?
No, I was just saying the cellar scene was, I mean, it was very like deadpan, wasn't it? That towards the beginning of the cellar. Oh, let's go to the cellar.
It's
just like that nice.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about the climax. Where they go to have the final fight. Everything they do in the fight. That is Home Alone. It's Home Alone down to the ground. It's Home Alone with
yes, true.
blood.
Yeah, it is. You're right. With blood and violence. I don't think it'd be Sharon's cup of tea.
Yeah, it
probably not. The way you described it last week, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, probably not so. No, but I think, Shaun, I agree with pretty much of everything you said. I think Bob Odenkirk is really, really good in the role. I think essentially I arrived at this film late. I think I probably missed about maybe the first 5 to 7 minutes, but I'm like, that doesn't really matter because nothing much has happened there. I know what the story is, and it really kicks in with the bus. The film kicks in when this guy goes. But one thing I liked that I thought was quite a funny wrinkle was because the whole idea is about this guy. He says he's nobody, and part of that is because he is an ex. He essentially he's a killer who used to work for the government who has quit, but you have this whole thing where he starts feeling oh my god, I can't believe it. I missed the life. I want to get back into the life. And it's pretty much almost kind of like it's like his version of a midlife crisis is that he wants to get back to the life that he had where he killed people. And so throughout the film, there's these scenes where he's begging for trouble to happen so that he can fight. And I just thought that was quite funny. I thought it was quite funny the way it was done. I think the different characters that show up, the film is done with sort of like a tongue in cheek. It knows what it is. It knows it's a silly action film, and not so much. And even though it's done by the same people who did John Wick, the action scenes are not as slick as John Wick are. So no. John Wick's action slick scenes are all like this choreographed dance and everything like that. In this, it's a lot more brutal, and in this, you can't get away from the fact that these things that are being done they hurt. That they're horrific.
I liked his dad as well, and Raza. Both of those. I like them characters. Like you say in the final, in
the final bit, in the
climax.
Essentially, I think they show up and Christopher Lloyd shows up for a bit, and you can just see Christopher Lloyd just having fun. It's kind of
fun, just enjoying himself. Yeah.
Yeah, he reminded me a little bit of Shaft, a bit like how you said skin. Oh, it's not that skin. No, it's not that skin. It's that skin. It's that skin. And same thing with Shaft. It's not that Shaft. It's not the other Shaft. It's this Shaft. And in the last film that was made called Shaft, Richard Roundtree shows up as the original Shaft. Yeah. And you can just see him walking around the film and he's just having a blast. He's not taking anything seriously. He's like, I wasn't doing anything anyway, and someone just came and said, you want to be in this film? I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. And Christopher Lloyd is like that in this film. He's just walking around having a blast with the whole thing. And there's even a bit where he pretty much says that, pretty much in his dialogue. He pretty much goes, oh my God, I missed this. And Shaun, there's a bit in the final fight that make me burst out laughing. All I can say is 1 bullet, 3 heads.
Oh yeah. That was actually. I'm going to go and watch. I'm going to have to watch this one again. Because that was That's right. Yeah, they all just like That was,
1 bullet, 3. When that happened, I was like, okay, this film is totally not taking itself seriously. And there's a bit of me that is totally there for it. There's a bit of me that thinks it's a bit problematic that it's all about how violent it is. But honestly, you just kind of go, okay, yep. These people know what they're doing. And I also love the fact that he keeps trying to give his backstory to people, and they keep dying before he reaches the end of his story.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it.
He keeps trying to say, well, what happened is that one day I came up with and it's good. I quite liked it. I would agree with. I think Shaun, you said 4.
Yeah,
and I would agree with that.
I said 4. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I thought nobody was. It was exactly what I needed that night.
We agree.
Yeah, it was exactly what I needed that night that I saw.
I do hope Toes. Yeah, I'd like you to go and see Father as well. If you do, if there's nothing else on, go see Father and give a second thing of that. That'd be good, and maybe even Sharon.
Yep,
would see it.
I would quite like to see the Father.
Say, what a masterful performance! Who knows?
I'll be like, Shaun, I don't know what film you were watching. Oh my God, I was transcendent. I was transported to another realm,
to a new place.
Yeah. All right, cool. So now we get back to a final film this week, and that is The Devil Below. So Sharon, you saw this, and I'm waiting for you to say the words that make me go, oh yeah, I heard of this. So go.
This film is inexplicably in the Netflix top 10 at the moment. And I was saying inexplicably because The Devil Below is The Pits.
The Pits. Oh,
Thank you very much for joining us on Netflix Cinema. That is it for the week. We will
I think I probably could sum it up at that. But a basic plot.
That's Netflix for you, isn't it?
If there is a plot to it. And it's basically a group of people have gathered together to explore an abandoned mine. On the surface, it's because they're trying to look into the phenomena of where there's some coal seams basically spontaneously combust and they burn underground, and they can suddenly cause fissures in the ground or sinkholes and things, because these burning sort of deep coal mines will basically collapse. And so that's the excuse they go. And so they go off into the hills to look for this abandoned mine, because there was apparently there's a fire burning there, and all the locals say, don't you want to talk about, there's nothing to see here. And then they drive down this road to find all these barriers saying keep out, danger, don't go any further, there's electric fences. So like all sensible scientists, they sort of climb over the fence and try to get around it. Then when they get to this mine, it's capped off and it's electrified, and there's all this security everywhere saying stay away. But of course they break all the security barriers and get in. And then
that's the first thing they teach you in Hollywood science school.
Yeah, and then sort of nasty things start appearing and eating them and dragging them off, and there's running and screaming and murkiness. And so basically it was just a pointless exercise. A pointless exercise and stupid people doing stupid things for an hour and a half.
Oh, good. Okay, this is a... Sorry, Sharon, carry on.
I really can't say a lot about it because it's one of those ones I think I would probably put it down in that whole I'm desperate to watch something before the recording time, and this fell into that category. It was in the top 10. I thought, well, it can't be that bad. How wrong I was. And one of the main characters is like a strong female character, which is de rigueur for most modern films now. But the first time you see her, she's got a vest on, she's got long dark hair tied back in a ponytail, and then you see her pick up her rucksack.
Ripley.
I'm thinking
Lara Croft.
Sarah
Connor.
I was thinking Sarah Connor.
Yeah, meets. I was thinking Lara Croft, but not.
Well, there you go.
Okay, all right. So now this is
any big actors in this?
No.
Any big actors in this? No.
There's one. Will Patton appears as a sort of unwashed hillbilly type person.
Okay, yeah, unwashed hillbilly. He doesn't have the perfectly coiffured mustaches of the gentleman behind Shaun. No, sir, he does not.
No.
I'll tell you one thing though. It's quite an achievement when a film manages to turn Sharon into Shaun. That is quite an achievement.
Yes. Yeah. That's an achievement.
Here's
me the fact that I'm being more forgiven and Sharon is like, role reversal.
But it's one of those ones where all some of them look the same to me. I mean, that was the sort of the young male actors. They all had a bit stubble, and I thought, I can't tell one of you apart from the other. All the locals who are there like to defend this well, to stop these creatures that dwell in this mine that eat people and do nasty things to people. They have been defending this mine for generations, and they all sort of merged into one. Apart from being heavily armed and unwashed, it just was pointless exercise in nothingness of an hour and a half of my life that was just wasted.
I love the fact that Sharon mentioned not once but a couple of times in her review, "What are you doing? Why would you do that?"
Yeah.
We'll stay with me. We'll stay with you for a while because that is pretty much Shaun's catchphrase.
That is sure. Yeah.
That's pretty much Shaun's catchphrase for a lot of modern cinema. So Sharon, dare I ask, how many stars would you give The Devil Below?
I'd give it a 2.
All right, cool.
Ooh, no,
that would be, to me, that was quite generous. I think it's quite generous too.
I think it comes back to that thing with like Netflix don't really care if a film's any good or not because they've got the audience because it's a streaming audience and people will watch it or they won't watch it. They haven't got that.
And doesn't it count as a view if you watch at least 5 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
I think I've heard that. That might just be an urban myth.
I don't even think it's up to 5 minutes you have to watch for it to count as a view. But the thing, Shaun, and this is okay. So we can blame Netflix for making rubbish and just not caring whether it's good or not.
I don't know who made this when they.
Yeah, but we can blame Netflix for putting up the cash for it. But Shaun, when they make rubbish and it shows up in the top 10 of everything they have in the entire massive catalog. That just tells you they're justified, because that's the stuff people are clicking on.
Yeah, I know.
That's the stuff people are clicking. So Netflix, they don't look at it. I personally don't think that they see themselves as they don't see I was going to say as an entertainment thing, but they don't see themselves as, we are supposed to make good stuff.
Good stuff.
They're quality.
Yeah, we're supposed to make stuff that people will click on and people will watch. That is Netflix's concern, that people watch the stuff they put on there. And so I blame the public who made this in the top 10 of Netflix stuff. Because now that they've done that and they made the top 10, Netflix are just going to go make a sequel. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And
they probably did
and who can blame them?
There was room for a sequel at the end. It was open-ended enough for there to be a sequel.
Yeah, and the thing is, who could blame them? Because they're there to make money. And they said, well, this is the rubbish that we make that people are paying for. It's kind of like, it's kind of like people making like McDonald's, not the healthiest, but look at how many people are buying it. So they're not going to stop making it if people keep buying it. So it's, but anyway, all right, cool. So with that glowing review from Sharon, would you guys like to guess who won this week?
I think it's got to be cinema again, isn't it?
I think cinema's taken it today.
It is cinema. I mean, when we kicked off with The Father and Shaun gave him The Father at number 3, I was thinking, this might be the week that Netflix comes back, because I've got a good one. So in the first 2 rounds, The Father got 3, Bad Education got 4. Then it flipped around and Dreamhost got 4 and Skin got 3. So after the first 2 rounds, it was dead even. And I was like, let's go see what happens. Nobody got 4, even if we took nobody out of the equation. Even if we had a 3.5 average for cinema, and then The Devil Below came and hold Netflix right below the waterline. Right below
grabbed
the
them by the
waterline.
ankles and dragged them out of view. Hey.
And that was it. And that down went Netflix at the count this week. The Devil Below did it. It holds Netflix this week. So for the 3rd week running, cinema is like, yes, we're back. We are taking the crown on this thing. So until next week, where I might go to the cinema to watch The Father, or unless something else big and massive and shiny shows up. I've got to go watch another episode of Loki. That got released yesterday. It's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Thank you very much for joining us.
See you later.